Hello, I'm NanoMK, and today I am playing Minecraft, Minecraft old whatever, but I have prepared to go explore these caves, because I want to do some caving on camera, because why not? And I just realized that I forgot something in here. Yes, so things that happened off camera. I just reinstalled Windows on my computer because I need to iron. Because I was using Linux, like people do sometimes, and I was running into compatibility issues, as people do every single stinking time you stinking try to use Linux, it breaks. So I was like, you know what? I'm going back to Windows. I know how to control that. So I did that, and then I had to reset up everything like OBS and stuff. So my voice may sound a little different. The recording may look a little different, but I assure you that this is an episode. So, yes. Sorry, just had to clear my throat there. Anyway, I think it's time to go caving, as they say. Because I have accidentally run into part of this cave through a different direction, but I haven't explored this whole one, and I also need to explore this cave for cave base reasons and for lighting up the area reasons, so that I can make a mob farm. I don't know if you got a glimpse of it, but I did start working on it. And also, on top of that, I've installed some mods, like Ray's minimap. I can't really go and try to use my mouse, but you see the minimap. Ray's minimap for 1.2.5. I got not enough items, and it's in recipe mode, so I can't cheat. Or it's actually in utility mode. And I got inventory tweaks, although I don't think it works. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, just some quality of life stuff, because I guess I've decided I want to stay on this version for a little while. I would really like to find a village in 1.2.5 before I update to 1.3 or something. I might just go straight to 1.4, honestly, but I might have to wait. But I really want to find a village. And I don't remember the last time I did an actual caving episode in my Let's Play, but here it is. Here's another. And I prepared the stuff, the things, etc. I prepared the torches, but I don't have that many good pickaxes, unfortunately. Now, keep in mind, I may, as I am known to be somewhat fickle. Oh, that's inventory tweaks. Auto refill. Okay. As I'm known to be somewhat fickle, I might not make this my cave base area, because there's the grass is always greener on the other side. Kind of. There's a helicopter outside, flying in the air, just like a helicopter would fly in the air outside of my house. And now it's gone, finally. I hear a spider. I hear a water. Ooh, it's right here. Where is this? Aha, found ya. Ooh. I'll be back in there in just a second. I will do this and this and oh, okay, so the water just won't be controlled by me at all. Oh, here's another water. I mean, I suppose I could, like, talk about something. Maybe about the fact that you don't need to switch to Linux. How about that? Because if you, okay, if you're like a tech person like me, you know what Linux is, but for those of you who don't know, like, what is this strange word you were saying? You know how Windows is an operating system, the thing that runs on your computer, that allows you to use your computer instead of just sit there and look at it being all pretty and stuff? Well, Linux is another one of those thingies, and it's how do I put it? Let's start with the attributes. It's free. That's a plus. It's open source, which is, you could be a plus or a minus, really. It depends on the software, depends on the operating system. It has a big community, which should be more of a plus than it really is, but it isn't that much. The community's kind of mean and stuff. But they know what they're talking about, so that's nice. Ah! Can't use control to sprint here. I'll check out that cave in a little while. And my biggest problem with Linux, even after I've mentioned all those things that could be pluses or minuses, is that I literally have to fix it continually. And mind you, I've used it on and off for a long time now. Okay? And I've gotten it to work occasionally, you know? There was a point this year where I was like, you know what, I think ooh, is that a mine shaft that I've been to? Oh. I'm almost lost, even though I was here before. I am focusing on getting coal and iron. What was I saying? Something about how I can use it. I've made it work before. I had it on my laptop. And I got it. It was like I finally found a distro that worked. Okay, so Linux is not like a full operating system. It's this thing with, it's like the core of an operating system, and then people make full OSs off of it. They're called distros because people are special. So I found this one called Fedora, and it just worked flawlessly, except for one minor thing, but it wasn't actually, it's so minor it's not even big enough to be called minor. It just worked, okay? Which is something you can hardly say for Linux unless you're lying, okay? Or using Fedora, probably. Who knows, it'll probably break on your machine. But it worked great for me. It worked on my machine, yes. And then I was like, you know what? If it's working for me, I'll go ahead and try to switch to it on my main computer. And so I installed Ubuntu. That was the mistake. You think Ubuntu is safe and stable? Think again, because it's not. For for the uninitiated who really don't need to be initiated, don't torture yourself like me. Ubuntu is like it's like the most common popular Linux distro. People hate it because noobs use it, but they should really hate it because it doesn't work. Be nice to the noobs. Okay? But there goes my iron. But I put it on my computer, and now I guess I'll go through the sequence of ridiculously stupid events that occurred. 1. I installed programs. You think, oh, okay, that's not a problem. Oh. Installing programs is not a problem, right? You do that on a Mac, on a Windows. You can do that. That's how you use a computer, right? Yeah, okay, so I installed some programs. And there's like 63,848 billion ways to install programs on Linux. And I used a few of them because not all of my programs are available in one method of installing them. There are these things called package managers. And so when people want to make their program available to people to use, they publish it on a package manager. And I used one called Flatpak. If you were a computer guy, you know what, that does Linux, you know what Flatpak is. Maybe you don't. Basically, it's like installing programs, but it's not as stupid. I'll put it that way. And so I installed my programs. I had a lot of Flatpaks, app images, snaps, because they're Linux. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It's like, think of them as different app stores. Normally, having different app stores on your phone will work relatively just fine. Unless you have a Mac, then they don't let you do that or something. But on Android, it's okay. It works fine. But of course, with Linux, yes, I know what you're gonna say, Linux people buy Android. But on Linux, don't think that anything will work, okay? Don't assume that. If you decide, ooh, I'm going to switch to Linux, you should also keep in mind that, ooh, everything will break. Okay, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to the stupid breaking part. So, I was installing, can't remember what it was. Let's go, I'm going to try to go in order chronologically, but it may not all be chronologically. But I think one of the, ooh, there's a spider, there's 2, isn't there? This is cool. One of the earliest problems I encountered was, for some reason, the library my computer needed to read an NTFS drive, which is like a drive that's been configured by Windows. And in order to read it, I don't even need to write to it, just read it. I needed a special library, and it came with with Ubuntu Linux by default, right? And then I installed some program, I can't remember which one, and it uninstalled it. It literally just uninstalled that library. I think it's called libfuse or something. And so I reinstalled it, and then I think reinstalling it uninstalled another thing. So remember how I was talking about Flatpak and how you can use it to install programs and it works alright? Well, guess what? Linux doesn't like Flatpak, because when I installed my Linux program, it was like, oh, so I need to uninstall Flatpak to function, which is dumb, by the way, because it didn't need to do that, but it did it anyway. And so now I don't, so then like like half my programs are just missing from my computer, right? And that would naturally make me upset, which it did naturally because it's natural. I should come back here. I should come back here. This is a nice area. But I am under the hill. I'm looking on my minimap. I'm just wondering how to connect to here from the main area. But yeah, so literally it uninstalled half my programs because it uninstalled the App Store. And you're like, but it uninstalled the App Store. You should still have your apps, right? Well, no, because Linux is special. So if you get a package manager, all your apps are basically running in the package manager's environment, shall I say. And so when the package manager is gone, your programs are gone. Great. However, okay, I will caveat my caveat with a caveat because the program's files were still there. So thankfully, all I had to do was reinstall Flatpak, and most of my Flatpak programs kinda came back, which was nice, but I was still angry that literally, like, installing something kinda necessary for my workflow, deleted or turned off half of my programs. Half of my applications that I need to use, they were just like, nope, this is not necessary, this should be removed. And then it deleted it, like that zombie. Except for the zombie, it was actually not necessary. And believe it or not, being a dumb person sometimes, I kept using Linux on there. Because it's like, okay, this is not, no, I didn't say this is not the biggest problem. It was the biggest problem. But, what was it? Sometimes you die by 1,000 cuts instead of a nuclear bomb. Because maybe the bomb missed you or something. And then, so they take you to their torture lab and then cut you 1,000 times. Why 1,000? I don't know, it's a Chinese proverb or something. Death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah, here's the 1,000 cuts, alright? So, when I went to, like, edit Word documents and stuff, and then save them and export them, I had to make, PowerPoints, because I was volunteering at my church at the time. I had to make slides for the pastor. And oh, aren't you just clever? You know what? Let me get a screenshot. And then do that. Yeah. Have a nice day. Creepers. They're all creepery. They're kind of like cats, honestly. Just they actually want to kill you, and they, instead of clawing you to death, they like explode. Unique. But yeah, I was making PowerPoints. So some of these open source programs are great, okay, and they even work on Windows. In fact, they often work better on Windows. Just so you know. So I was using it to edit PowerPoint slides, and I was like getting good at making slides and style-y stuff, and then I went to put it on my thumb drive, and then it puts a version of it that's 0 bytes. Yes, you heard me right. It puts an empty file with the same name on my thumb drive. I'm like, what's going on? Is there something wrong with my file? No, it was something wrong with my file manager. You know how Windows has Windows Explorer and you've got Finder on Mac? Well, on Linux, there's a billion of those. Ow. Ouch. Okay, on Linux, there's like a billion of those you can choose from, which in past experiences, they worked, you know, but not this time for some reason. That's not what I went to place. Just want to block that off. Not in Linux. No, because nothing can just be intuitive there. Okay, some things are, but at that point it doesn't matter really. Ooh, melon seeds. So it turns out the file manager that I had chosen, the one that I had installed, was automatically making symbolic links, which is basically like a shortcut. So whenever I tell it to move a file, it's like, oh, I'm smart, I will make a shortcut for you instead. And it's an idiot, actually. So it did that, and I lost a lot of productivity that way. Like, even when I copied it, it didn't work. I can't quite describe how angry it makes me, or it made me. But it did that. It did that. Maybe I dare to conquer this. Which direction is it? If you hear mobs falling, that means they're probably trying to get to you. I can't tell which direction they are. Oh, I see now. Oh, this is gonna break. My sword is about to break. But I have, ooh, perfect timing. I have enough iron to make a new one. I have enough wood to make a crafting table. And what can I throw away? I don't need those fences. And I don't need the sticks anymore. Alright. So they're all... What's in this chest? The spiders are gonna kill themselves with micro fall damage. And they might kill me with poison. Okay, so they can just cross that divide. Alright, so let me put that there. Go behind the lava. Yeah. Mobs aren't too smart in this version. And this was a version where they made them smarter, which is funny. I love that auto refill. That's pretty good. I like inventory tweaks now. They shouldn't be spawning anymore from this one, I think. But there's still some left over, and there's one spawning from up there. Oh, you think you're smart? Okay, maybe you're smart. I'm getting out of here. Okay, I just ran into some more up here. This must be the upper one. This is a cool mine shaft. Sorry. So, where was I? Where indeed was I? Where am I? I'm pretty sure I am lost. This pickaxe works on wood too. I love it. Okay. Which way did I come again? I think from this direction? This is a huge ravine. Wow, this is a cool ravine. I miss the like hyper crisscross ravines from these versions. I was talking about how Linux sucks, but I can't remember what it was. Okay. So, oh yeah, the other problem was not only was I getting those issues when like moving files around, but when I tried to open, like, you can double click a file to open it in the proper program. I tried to do that with like Word documents and stuff, and it opened again an empty version of the file with 0 bytes. It actually just said document. It didn't even have the name. It just opened and oh, I get it now. I just figured out the at least the diagnosis of the problem. It just opened the program. It didn't actually open the file in the program, which is and I ran into that problem with more and more things, and it's like I literally go to the file and double click it. I don't go to the program and do open file unless it's like a code editor or something. And Word, or its equivalent on Linux, is not a stinking code editor. I shouldn't have to go through all those menus when I know where the file is and I can find it in my file manager. Even with the default one, I was running into that kind of issue. And at that point, I had just stopped using my laptop, not my laptop, my main computer so much, because it's like, one, still have this job that I mentioned in the channel updates video, and I was using my laptop because I had to be out of the house more, and what was it? I'm trying to find my way out, but I'm also still exploring, which doesn't help if you're trying to get out. And and a lot of the stuff I was working on was mostly on my laptop. And Dropbox, oh yeah, that's another issue with Linux. Dropbox is garbage on Linux. Don't use it unless you are interested in paying. Because even if you tell it which folders to sync, it will just sync all the folders in all of your Dropbox to your computer and then fill up your drive. I've had that happen before in a different Linux environment, but still, even if you tell it only these folders, it will sync all of them. It will sync everything and just write it to your drive and fill it up. And so that's why I couldn't access my files across devices, because Dropbox is dumb on Linux. And so eventually I reinstalled Windows on my laptop first, because I was having similar but slightly lower intensity issues on my laptop. So I installed Windows 10 on my laptop. Yes, Windows 10 in this era. And then I installed Windows 11 by getting Windows 10 and upgrading it on my main computer. And so now here we are with my new computer setup and my new recording setup. So, all that to say, you don't need to switch to Linux. Now, I'll probably try it again someday because I'm crazy. But you, who can think for yourself, use what works. Unless you want to try something new. Okay. Yeah. That's just my rant about my experience, because it really pissed me off. Okay. Now those open source programs, on the other hand, I say open source, but whatever, I guess they are open source. Those are pretty good. They work better on Windows, to be frank. In fact, they work pretty good on Mac. I've tried some of them on Mac. Like that one I've used for Word documents. Yeah, well, it's called OnlyOffice. Yeah, it works better on Windows. It is excellent. As far as my experience, you mostly don't even need Word or that. You probably might want to keep Excel, but it has a pretty good Excel equivalent too. And PowerPoint, it does that decently. PowerPoint is still a little bit better in terms of compatibility with PowerPoint, but if you're just trying to make a presentation and you don't need to make it run in PowerPoint, like an actual... What I had to do is I had to save it as a PowerPoint presentation, and then I had to run it in Pro Presenter, which only supported PowerPoint. So I had to go through a few hoops. But if you don't have to do any PowerPoint compatibility, use OnlyOffice for that too. Not OnlyOffice. Which one is it again? I have to check. Yes, it is OnlyOffice, because I'm confusing it with OpenOffice, which is the super old version of another free office thing, which is called LibreOffice. I should make a video. Maybe I should make a channel talking about all of the software I've found, because I have found all kinds of software for everything, not just office stuff, but over my life of using computers, I have just searched and searched for software like this, software like that, this versus that, creepers versus nano MK. Wow, you don't have a sword, you can't block. But yeah, I found a ton of software. I should maybe people would like to hear about lists of that or something, because I use some of it. I need to use less of it, honestly, because it's too much. I found too much stuff, guys. But yeah, so yeah. Yeah, what else can I say? I had my experiences. You can disagree with me. Oh, it's half working. Probably all that lighting up helped. Nice. But yeah. You can't deny Linux suckiness. And what's the words that are trying to come out of my mouth? You can deny it until you run into it yourself, which you will. But I might try Arch, just to see if after I configure it. Basically, that's the one where that's the super elite version where you have to configure literally everything yourself. But then everyone who does it is I use Arch, by the way, and they're special or something. I have different reasons to try it. One, curiosity, which is chaos in some circles, and two, maybe it will work as well as Fedora. I've just, that experience with Ubuntu was horrible. I've had better ones before. Get off there. Yes, don't stand on my stuff. Wow, lighting up those caves really did something, did some work, huh? But I went that way, I think. Right? Wrong button. It's X? I went, see where the arrow is pointing? I went that way, I think, in the caves. I'd like to go that way too, at some point. but whatever. Let me check the length of the episode. Okay, yeah, I think that is a good end for this episode. But yes, finally explored that cave, and I can do more caving on my own now. I shared with you my horror story of Linux. Okay, it doesn't usually go that terribly, but it is never super smooth. Like, if it goes well, you still have to configure everything yourself. The good part is that it just works, you know. But anyway, that's the end of the video. God bless you, and goodbye.